Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to the debut episode of Soccer Talk with Colin. It is going to be posted on my YouTube channel. I'm very excited to talk about the Chicago Red Stars and the Chicago Fire here on my YouTube channel. This week's pilot episode is going to be about the Chicago Red Stars. Some of what I'm going to talk about is positive news, some more gloomy, dark, negative news. So I apologize if it starts off rainbows and sunshine, very exciting, positive news, midway through more dark and dreary. But my goal is to end on a more bright note. So hopefully you experience, all these emotions during the pilot episode here on Soccer Talk with Colin. Let's begin today's episode. So, for what I'm going to talk about for the Chicago Red Stars, if you've been keeping up with news, especially from the business side of things, I want to talk a little bit about the Red Stars in terms of business. So, the Red Stars ended the season making the playoffs. They lost, though. And once the season ended, there's been some turmoil and stuff going on that is not so good with the Red Stars. So first, recently we had 7 players go to free agency, and this was the debut season for the NWSL where they now have instituted free agency, so players can leave the team they are on, sign with a new team, like free agency works. And some players in the NWSL have just re-signed with the same club, but some have left to new clubs for the first time in this new free agency. So that's very exciting. As a fan, I'm excited about it. How players get to go to different clubs. You can start watching them if you have a favorite player. You can start enjoying them on a new club. But as a fan of a certain club, that's not so good. That players I'm rooting for, their contract's up. They're setting sail, moving on to a new city. So for the Red Stars, we have 7 players who are free agents, which is awful, to be honest, a lot. A lot of the other clubs have far less, maybe 1 or 2 free agents. The Red Stars 7, though, which is more anxiety-provoking because the chances of all 7 resigning are low. And as of today, December 20th, we've only had 2 players re-sign with the club, 4 have left, and 1 has not made a decision yet. So first I'll begin more positive note. I want to start it off good. The 2 players who have re-signed who are free agents. First is Erin Wright, defender. Veteran defender. She's a strong leader. She's shown promise of the Red Stars. She's good in the back line. Erin Wright, dependable defender. She, when has been hurt and not played, it's been noticeable. So I'm glad that Erin Wright's coming back to the Red Stars. She's definitely what I'm looking for in veteran, leader, and has experience in defense and in Chicago too, so that's good. So now we'll move on to the second free agent who decided to come back, and that is a fan favorite, one of my personal favorites, Yuki Nagasato. As you may remember, she was on the Red Stars, then she was traded to Kansas City, where she actually take that back, not Kansas City, Louisville, Racing Louisville. She was on Racing Louisville for 1 season. Then at the beginning of last year, she came back to the Red Stars, which I was very excited about, and she decided to re-sign. So Yuki Nagasato, veteran striker, she's coming back. And one thing I want to show that's cool is I liked collecting trading cards, and Parkside does a lot of good NWSL trading cards. They started out a few years ago, and I've been collecting a number of them. And I actually have 2 Yuki Nagasato trading cards I want to show up to the camera. And the first one is a black and white one with her in her Red Stars gear. Talks a little bit about her on the back. She's a forward. And if you have a phone, you can scan for more about her statistics, goals, assists. And that's cool. And the second one I have from Yuki Nagasato is in her gear. And actually, it's signed too. She signed this one. It was a signed one that I got, so that was cool. That was when she was with Racing Louisville. So I have 2 Yuki Nagasato training cards. And happy she's coming back. That's positive news. So now let's move to more dreary news. 4 players on the Red Stars are leaving. So of the free agents we have, 4 are leaving. And to be honest, none of these are scrubs, like deep benchy. Player plays once a year. They're young, still improving. The players who left are all experienced, talented, highly liked by Red Stars fans. So the players who are leaving, first, we have Rachel Hill and Danny Colaprico. Danny Colaprico is one of my favorites all time, one of my favorite Red Stars players ever. I got to meet her. That was a huge experience. It's awesome seeing her in multiple games. She's played many games. Personal fan favorite. If you asked me today who is my favorite Red Stars player before she left, I probably would have said Danny Colaprico personally. But she is setting sail to San Diego, joining the Wave. And somebody in business, in sports, baking, looking at where teams are, I would say it's a good move. Going to the Wave is a good decision. Young club, up and coming. Last season, very successful season for them. They did well in the playoffs. They actually beat the Red Stars, by the way. They are a strong side, well coached, well funded, and good talent player, and still building on that front as well. So adding Danny Colaprico, genius move. She's going to San Diego, which who doesn't want to play in San Diego? That's a great decision if you want to move somewhere, live in a new city. Great choice. Next, another player is leaving for the Red Stars to join San Diego is a free agent, Rachel Hill. She's a talented midfielder. She scored a good number of goals. She scored, fun fact, the 1 goal we scored in the 2021 NWSL Championship. Rachel Hill got us the 1 goal. It looked positive. We ended up losing, which was depressing. But she scored that 1 goal, which I'm not going to forget her for that. But she has decided to go to San Diego with Danny Colaprico. Which one of the things that's interesting for me is of the 4 free agents who have left, they've done it in a buddy system. So 2 of the Red Stars went to San Diego, and the next 2 I'm going to talk about, both are going to Kansas City, joining the Kansas City Current. So the 2 players who are moving to Kansas City, which is also a good decision. They were the runners-up this season in the 2022 NWSL Championship. Are first, we have the captain. She's been in the league a long time. Great defensive midfielder and scorer is Vanessa DiBernardo. She's leaving the Red Stars to join Kansas City. So now Kansas City gets Vanessa DiBernardo. Red Stars no longer have a captain as well, which is disappointing. We'll have to figure out who we want to name the new captain since she has left. And she'll be sorely missed as the captain. She was a great leader, and not just on the field, off the field as well, and with the fans. And Vanessa DiBernardo was not someone who highly expressive. She used her leadership more on her actions on the field as a leader. And she will be leaving. So that is too bad. That's disappointing for me. And the last free agent who's leaving, also joining the Kansas City Current, is another player who's been here a few years, well known as a highly successful superstar on the U.S. women's national team. And the player who is leaving is best known as Morgan Bryan, but she's now known as Morgan Gautrat when she got married. She is leaving. So the highly successful midfielder, one of the best in the NWSL and in women's soccer, arguably she's definitely top 3 for me in midfielders at the moment in the NWSL. She's joining Kansas City, and oh my goodness, Kansas City, whoever helped convince him to come there and showed them the red carpet, genius move in the front office, getting 2 experienced stars to join the club, especially Morgan Gautrat. That was a coup for them. So now the Red Stars have lost those 4 players. So we only have one left who has not made a decision in terms of free agency on where they're going, and that is Kealia Watt. She's still undecided. Is she going back to Chicago, or is she joining a new club? And in terms of, is she wanted by a new club? Easy. She's one of the best in the league. Easily she could find a new club to go to. Experienced, skilled. And a lot of these players have similar traits, and they're good leaders, great players on the field, and easily be well liked by the fans. So Kealia Watt easily could move to a new club. We'll have to see where she goes. Hopefully she stays with the Red Stars, because if not, things are getting worse by the moment if she decides to leave. And to be honest, this decision could be made any moment. I could have to make an emergency update any day saying Kealia Watt has left, or she decided to stay. Hopefully it's the latter, she's staying. That would be more positive. But that's the free agent moves right now for the Red Stars. And one last one before we conclude this. I have 2 more trading cards I want to show you. One is of Kealia Watt. I have a Kealia Watt trading card. So this is her. Hopefully she stays with the Stars. And the last one is Sarah Woldmo. She's not a free agent, but she's been a great player, great sport on the Red Stars. She is retiring. So Sarah Woldmo didn't play last season. She has decided to retire. So good luck in retirement, Sarah Woldmo. That's it for the free agent moves. Now let's pivot to more business management moves. This is more, at the moment, not really that good news to go over. So at the moment, the Red Stars management is in turmoil. We've signed a new general manager at the moment, but we have no owner at the moment. Our owner has decided to resign and sell the club. So he is selling the club. Aaron Whistler has decided to sell the club. And you say, why is this? Well, the main reasons for this are our old coach, Rory Dames. He was a highly skilled coach. People respected him. He was well liked in the media, by the fans, and by players you fought. But it turns out Rory Dames really, based on reports from Meg Lanahan of The Athletic, highly trusted source, The Equalizer, Attacking for other sports news, podcasts, and articles, Rory Dames is really a monster. Like, what is this? What's going on? Why are these coaches and people and staff, especially in the NWSL with women athletes, they come out to be a monster? Why are these people who are joining women's soccer? They need to start doing better of a vetting job, figuring out more how to prevent this, because that is despicable. So I don't want to go deep into this, but basically Rory Dames abusing players verbally and other means. He was not a good man based on all reports. Rory Dames turned out not to be a good man. Maybe his results were positive, but I don't care about that. If he's treating players horribly and he's looked at as an abusive monster, then there's no place for that person in the league. He needs to be fired immediately, which he was. Rory Dames is gone. And one of the reasons that there's turmoil in the league between the players and the management is that the owner, former owner now, Aaron Whistler, he did nothing. he got reports from the players that Roy James was a monster, what he was doing to them. They documented it, reported it. It was brought to his attention, owner, but supposedly from reports, he didn't do anything to correct this, fix this, and now he is resigning, selling the club. There's pressure from the players for him to sell. They want him to sell. In the end, he is selling the club. He will no longer be the owner. And positive things to look about this, these negative snakes are leaving the organization, so that is good positive, that these people who turn out to be not good are gone. They'll be cleaning house. That's good. But then no owner is negative at the moment. The Red Stars are looking for a female-led team to come in and buy the Red Stars. And hopefully the Red Stars stay in Chicago. That's my goal as a fan, supporter. Want us to stay in Chicago, play there for the foreseeable future. But on the Drury side, not so good news to report. There is rumors that might not be the case. It's no guarantee that we are going to stay in Chicago. The Red Stars' new ownership might want to start over with a new expansion club, new beginnings, and build up a new expansion club in a new city. There are a few options that have been well documented. One, Boston. There used to be the old team in women's soccer, the Boston Breakers. They were well loved. Lots of fans were devastated when the Boston Breakers folded. And a lot of people were talking about they couldn't wait for a new Boston women's soccer organization. And for where they're going to play, that probably could be pretty easy. They could just play at the same stadium as the New England Revolution MLS team plays. They could do it as some other teams where they share the same stadium. They could come up with an agreement for that, for the new Boston team to share the stadium. So that would be easy in terms of getting a team up and running. They could get the stadium ready to go, get the organization started. That would be relatively easy on that front, at least in my opinion, if they can get that done. A second one has been documented is San Francisco. People have been talking about starting an NWSL team in San Francisco, and that's probably a decent idea. San Francisco is bustling. A lot of teams are moving to San Francisco, with Golden State Warriors playing in Chase Center, beautiful palace in San Francisco, and I think it's a good idea. A lot of fans would definitely go to watch games, I think, in San Francisco. And based on ownership-wise, I think they could find an owner that would love to begin a team in San Francisco. Based on money, Silicon Valley, tech entrepreneurs, I think they could find someone who would want to begin that venture. So those are two places that have been documented, Boston and San Francisco. The other ones as well, cities that have been talked about, but those are definitely two of the ones that at the moment most talked about. There was one in the past people talked about, which was Sacramento, but Sacramento ended up not happening because they decided to do San Diego instead, which in my opinion was a better move. And I don't think Sacramento would be the greatest idea, because Sacramento City's nice, but doesn't have the same resources, same fan excitement as some cities. So at the moment, I would say probably not Sacramento. It's probably not the highest win on the board at the moment. So that's news and free agency, the troubles in ownership and management, coaching, and possible expansion, relocation. So those are all free things to talk about. And mostly this information I got from The Equalizer in an article by Ariana Cascone, assessing the Chicago Red Stars on the field, heading into 2023, on and off the field. Very enjoyable article. It was very successful for me in helping me understand the free agents, the ownership fiasco, and other moves as well. And before we conclude, I have a few last statements to make about the Red Stars in terms of improving, because losing these free agents hurt the club in a big way. Who can we get to replace these players who are leaving? There are a few options through the draft, of course. We have a few draft picks upcoming this season, and there are some good players who are in college. They'll be going to the NWSL and draft, which the Red Stars can draft in defense, midfield. For me, they gotta look at a midfielder, either for free agency at the moment and in the draft, because at the moment, the midfielders we have, oh my goodness, this is really bad. We went from having a surplus of midfielders, one of the most looked at as positively depth. People said the Red Stars midfield depth 10 out of 10 A plus. Now went from 10 out of 10 A plus to an F. In one foul swoop, the players who were leaving, majority of them were all midfielders, which horrible luck. And now we only have on the roster, as of today, 2 midfielders. We went from having like 8 or 9 to only 2. The only 2 we have are, one, Sam Fisher. And there's nothing against these players. I'm not bashing them, but they are no Morgan Gautreau, Danny Colaprico, Cleawide. Anyway, they're fine. They're young. They're up and coming, improving, still gaining experience in the league, but they are not on the same level as any of those players whatsoever. So Sam Fisher, she played some games here and there last season due to injury, experience. They let her start some games, came off the bench. Sam Fisher, I'm still uneasy about at the moment, not sure what she brings to the table, but she hasn't got a lot of playing time yet, so she can, at the moment she'll be starting, show what she's got on the field. The second one is Jill Aguilera, also in a similar boat. She's young, still improving, finding her footing. She had some starts too, played here and there. She and Sam Fisher are similar, but a little bit different. I think Sam Fisher is more of a defensive midfielder, whereas Jill Aguilera is more of an attacking midfielder. She's one who could probably get some goals, assists. We can get some more players who can help set her up. So I think Jill Aguilera offensively is a good weapon, and then on the defensive side, Sam Fisher. We did have one last one, Channing Foster, but rumors are saying she's going to be hitting the road any minute. So that one at the moment, I don't think will be coming back. So I can't at the moment say Channing Foster, member of the Red Stars. I can only definitively say Sam Fisher and Jill Aguilera. And in terms of meeting them, I met a lot of Red Stars players, gotten autographs, some pictures. As a fan, it's really exciting to meet players, and that's why Red Stars are really awesome. Because a lot of leagues, of course, you could never meet the players except paying big money for a fan meet and greet, which is still cool. But these ones you can for free meet players after the match. You can wait along the lines, and then you can come up, sign some roster paper you have, or take a photo with them, talk to them a little bit, which is really cool as a fan. I don't think I've met Sam Fisher, but I might have met Jill Aguilera, but I'm not 100% sure if I met either of them. So that's our midfield depth at the moment. So I know this has been a emotionally filled, up and down debut soccer talk with Collin here on my pilot episode, but overall I had a great time. Very excited to talk about the Red Stars, our current situation, and if you want more info, if you're not 100% in the know yet so far on the Red Stars, some places I can recommend for you to gain some more info so you're ready for my next episode is the Tacking Third podcast / YouTube channel with Sandy Herrera and Lindsay Roman. Excellent one. Both of them very talented, very skilled orders and writers. Both of them huge Red Stars fans, especially Sandy Herrera. She's a diehard Red Stars Chicago fan. So she and Lindsay do a great job in getting people ready for what's going on in soccer and in other clubs as well, majority of the Red Stars. Then we also have the athletic writer Meg Linehan, one of the greatest writers in all of sports, not just soccer, but she knows all. Picture Adrian Wojnarowski, someone in the NBA, someone who knows like all the stuff. Jeff Passan in MLB, somebody like that who immediately gets everything out, all the updates, rumors, transactions, always like the first one to announce it all. That's Meg Linehan in women's soccer. She is on the know, is a beat writer and reporter. And those are some good places. Also, the Equalizer website, they do a good job for women's sports. And then there's another one too, Just Women's Sports, which is called. Those are some ones that do a good job with Red Stars news, info, breaking news. I'll keep you updated to conclude on the Cleo Watt news, any Red Stars free agent moves, and the ownership situation, and will the Red Stars play in Chicago next season for the 2023 season, or will be in a new city? As a fan, I'm still going to support the team wherever they go because I've had a lot of fond, great memories supporting the club these past couple years, and I'll still support them, but it's more difficult, of course, for them moving to a new city, but hopefully we stay in Chicago. Thank you so much for tuning into the debut episode of Soccer Talk with Collin. Enjoy the rest of your week. If you have any comments, you can find me on Twitter at Collin Sugg. Just type that in. You can comment about the YouTube show, or you can comment on this episode as well. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon. Collin signing off on my debut episode.